Hey everybody, you're listening to the Smoke Meat Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pittman. Smoke Meat's brought to you by Joe's Underground in Augusta, Georgia at the corner of 8th and Broad. Great place, great food, great drinks, great people. Jeremy and the gang know how to treat you right. So once all this COVID crap's over, you need to go on in there and have a big party. Guarantee they'll treat you like family and you'll love it there. That's Joe's Underground, the corner of 8th and Broad in Augusta, Georgia. Today, I have had the privilege of sitting down here and talking with the comic doc himself. That's right, Vien Phommachanh. Great guy, based out of Florida. He is a doctor. And we have just had a great time talking. So we're just going to get to this thing here on Smoke Meat. Hey, how's it going today, Doc?
Hey, Brad.
Oh,
Thanks
man.
for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. Thank you very much for coming on. We're going to have a good time tonight. Tell me. Oh, go ahead.
I'm game.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, you know.
Well, I'm an ear, nose, and throat doctor during the day, and at night I'm a stand-up comic, or at least I was. I'm based out of Sarasota, Florida, just outside of Tampa. And I'm in probably the same place a lot of people. I'm stuck at home trying to figure out what the future looks like. I don't know how far back you want me to go. I'm Laotian. Grew up in the States, grew up in Florida for the most part. But married, got 2 kids, and I want to talk about smoked meats.
Nice. We sound like we're in the same boat. I'm married with 2 kids and also in medicine. Are you doing the self-quarantine thing when you're at home?
I am, because, I have to be super careful at work. We're seeing patients still, so I have to wear masks and shields and stuff. And, because of that risk, whenever I can, I try to avoid going out that much to add to my risk. In the real world, my wife and I kind of divide and conquer. She does all the grocery shopping and try to order as much online as we can to try to keep our house as clean as we can.
Yep. Yeah, I'm doing the quarantine thing too because being on ambulance, I'm elbow deep in it just like you, and I'm wearing all my PPE like I'm supposed to, and when I get home, because my wife, her job, she works at a nursing home, I kind of stay away from her and my kids because God forbid if I did have it, I don't want to give it to them because it can go everywhere. So I'm kind of sequestered down here to my studio in the basement.
Yeah, I usually steer clear the kids until I feel like I've been sterilized. Like I keep all my clothes in the garage. I strip down in the garage. I go straight to the shower and clean myself off, and then before we get to do any hugs and kisses. Some days I'm worried or I'm not feeling quite right. I'll not give them hugs or something. We do air hugs, and they understand. They grew up around a surgeon, so they know sterility. They know germ theory, so we sometimes skip days, no hugs, no kisses, just until I know for sure I don't have anything.
Yep, and that thoroughly sucks, but it's what we're dealing with now. It is what it is. And and also just to promote this out there, free strip show daily. Just step outside Vien's garage and get you a peek.
I'm also an exhibitionist. There's days I do it and I haven't been around any people. It's just something I like to do.
Nice. It's a good thing you don't close the garage door.
I could. I just choose not to. It's more sterile. There's more airflow.
There you go. It's science.
All in the name of safety.
Yes, the great ones dig deep.
This is said with great sarcasm. If you're blessed with the body I have, I don't want to keep it from the world. I feel like I'm doing the world a favor.
Oh, yeah.
If you could see me through this podcast, you'd know that was a joke.
Oh, man. You're sitting here talking to a guy who's 5'10" and almost 300 pounds. So,
Well,
yeah, I'm working on
I,
that part though. I'm trying to get taller.
you'd be lower on the podium than me. We
Nice.
could go 1-2 in the beauty contest.
I've got the face for radio.
I've got a body for podcasts.
Nice. I'll tell you, that's one thing that this COVID thing is doing to a lot of comics. I mean, a lot of people in general. We had talked. I would kill for some good stage time right now
Yeah.
because you just can't do it. Which I've been lucky. The way I am with comedy. They don't want a group of 10 people or more. I have almost sold out 2 shows.
Huh.
Oh yeah. Boom boom. That was bad.
So you have 9 friends coming to your shows?
Well, we're going to go 8. I'm not going to push it.
It was a weird. I did get to do one show recently. It's the only show I've done since this whole thing. Florida started to open up, and they're allowing restaurants to open at 25% capacity. And so the comedy clubs are technically restaurants. So one of the local clubs opened, and they got 37 people. Their capacity was 50 at 25%. And I was surprised to see that many. But the energy was surprisingly good because you could tell people just really wanted it, like they really wanted to be there, and they wanted to laugh. And even though it was a thin crowd, the club probably seats close to 200. With 37 people, it didn't feel like there was a huge drop off in energy. I felt like an average night, and you can kind of feel part of it is just it felt like they really wanted to be there. They were all of one mind, and the energy made you feel like a good crowd, a good energy crowd. I've been in bigger crowds where the crowd just didn't seem into it, and I struggled. But I think that we're going to walk back into a situation where people really need us and want us back. That's kind of the sense I walked away from.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause, I mean, anything we can do to help people laugh right now. I've seen some comics that are, basically putting up a backdrop at home and filming their stand up, and
Yeah.
God bless the ones that can do it. I've
Yeah.
thought about it, and I can't do it. I feed off that energy too much.
Yeah, it's hard to do. I think you need the audience reaction because comedy is a dialogue between you and the audience, and how they respond to you, whether they're on board with you, is a big organic part of it. What I've been doing is I film a lot of stupid little videos, like little skits or little content.
Yep.
It's not straight stand-up. And I think with social media, there's so much stuff out there that's negative, so much news and so much arguing politically. And I get a really great response just putting a stupid video out there, like people just need the laughter. Like that's like the most void thing in the world right now. Is there's so much angst and anxiety and hatred and politics that I'll put a stupid video on and I'll get people thanking me for making them laugh, and it's something that they hadn't done in a while.
Yeah.
So I have a little green screen set up. I film, whatever comes to mind. I'm not a filmmaker, just 30-second videos.
I tell you, green screen is so wonderful. What program do you edit with?
I have a program called Power Director that I use, and what it allows me to do is splice, my sketches together, but you can overlay voiceover or background music. That's primarily what I use, and my skits are basically just they're very brief observations. Like lately I've been filming a lot of like if a superhero lived in your neighborhood films, and let's say you live next door to Iron Man. Like someone gets mad at Iron Man about his lawn. What happens? Well, Iron Man blows up his car. So there'll be a 30-second video of me blowing up the neighbor's car, or if the dog poops in my yard. Well, I'm going to tase his dog. Just sort of a different take on on things.
Nice.
It keeps me from going crazy.
And it's a lot of fun. I've got some characters that I started doing earlier later last year on YouTube, and I don't know if you've seen them. My channel is Brad's Comedy. It's all one word with no apostrophe. But I have so much fun doing those, and they're so different. Each one is. And I just did one as Brad Exotic. I put on a yellow mullet wig, and I basically looked like Carol Baskin and Joe Exotic had a kid. And I did. Have you ever heard of the Bean Boozled jelly beans?
I haven't.
Oh man, Jelly Belly puts this game out called Bean Boozled, and you have a little spinner, and you spin it, and it lands on a color, and you pick the color out of your box, and it's either the flavor it's supposed to be, something good like Tutti Frutti or buttered popcorn, or it's a really nasty flavor like dirty dishwater, spoiled milk. A friend sent me the Extreme Edition, which actually has no good ones in it. So I did about a 10-minute video doing those on my back porch as Brad Exotic. And while I was eating them and trying not to throw up, I was telling facts about tigers and lions and donkeys. Such as, did you know that the ground speed for a donkey is 70 miles an hour?
I feel like that sounds made up.
It is totally, but hey, when Brad Exotic says it, it sounds real.
Like he says it in a really convincing way.
Exactly.
You're afraid to argue.
He's an authority.
I think if you yell, and you stare when you say it, I think you can convince me of that. I feel like I'm going to pass that on.
Oh yeah, watch the video. You will be impressed with my donkey knowledge.
I'm already impressed. I feel like that's a very complex skit. There's a lot of flavors in that.
Oh man, and I had to do another one. The same person sent me a thing. I love hot food. I'm what they call a chili head. And she sent me a lollipop called the Toe of Satan. This thing is 9 million Scoville heat units. And she wanted
it has such a benign name. I don't think that's a fair name for it.
Oh man, it was like sticking my tongue to the cigarette lighter of a 73 Pinto. Holy crap. It was, oh man. But I have another character I do who's like the 70s love guy. He got a big bushy mustache, red hair and all, and wears a Hawaiian shirt. And this is his voice. His name's Wayne, baby. Wayne. And she wanted me to dress as Wayne and read The Little Engine That Could while I ate this thing. The Little Engine couldn't. But it makes people laugh.
I feel like that was a tall ask.
It was. I mean, that thing was ridiculous. Like I say, I've eaten the Reaper peppers. I do all those challenges. And that thing is just pure extract. It is, oh man.
I've been tempted to. I am sort of a chili head, but I haven't done it competitively. Mm-hmm. Like I've always been the kind of person who people marvel where I just sort of pour hot sauce on everything. It's like mostly hot sauce with something else on it. Mm-hmm. So I think I could hold my own. I've just never really put my name in the ring. Yeah. I went to this comedy show once. There's a local comedy show called the Hot Mess Comedy Show. Mm-hmm. And they make the comics have these little hot wing challenges, and it's ghost pepper extract. It's like super hot, million Scoville unit deal. And they're supposed to try to tell jokes, and it just doesn't work. Like every single person just loses their bodily function when they're there. They freak out, they curse, they run off stage, they cry, and it ends up being funnier than the jokes would be. Like I feel like most of us would be disappointed to hear, an actual joke come out of them. We enjoy the suffering more.
I tell you, oddly enough, on my channel also, it's got some of my stand up. And you'll look for a show from Uncle Bobby's Wings. And I did something like that. I got with the cook before the show and asked him what their hottest wing was. And he told me the hottest one on the menu. I'm like, no, what's your hottest one? He said, I'll bring it out to you. And about halfway through the show, he brought me one wing. And I was ready for it. I had planned this. And I ate this wing and did my last 10 minutes. And it was rough, but I did it, and I got through it. But Now I did kind of cheat because instead of using new material, I used a bit that I had done a lot before, so that didn't have to concentrate quite as hard on it. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I can handle one or the other. I don't know if I can handle both.
Yeah.
I still need to think when I'm doing comedy. You know, I'm not. If something distracts me, I think I would stop being funny in that situation.
Yeah.
Whoever thought of that? I feel like who sat around thinking comedy and hot wings? Like, how did those worlds collide?
Mine basically collided because I wanted free wings.
Yeah.
Because I'm cheap. But oh yeah. But I tell you, you know, it's funny when you think about comedy. I did a show at the Laughing Skull here in Atlanta, and it was open mic, and I was right in the middle of the lineup, which I hate to be in the middle.
Yeah.
Either let me go first or let me go last. I hate the middle.
Yeah.
And there was a guy in the front row who, I mean, he just was sitting there with his arms crossed. He's wearing a pair of cargo shorts and a Hawaiian shirt, would not even smile. And we found out later why the crowds were so bad is because the last guy was like the CEO of a big hospital corporation up here that I'm not going to name because I may want to work there one day. And it was a corporate event, and everyone had been voluntold to be there.
Oh, no one wanted to be there?
Yeah, and we were in the green room, and we were watching on screen, and this guy's just mean-mugging everyone.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of taking little shots at him, and my material I actually wrote on the way there. I was not prepared. I mean, this bomb was all me. I was not prepared. I disrespected my craft big time.
Yeah.
And I got up there, and the first thing I did was I looked down at him and said, "Your balls are showing." And I felt so bad about that afterwards. I'm like, man, this guy ain't done nothing, you know. And I just like walked straight out and attacked him. And it was such a horrible show. So they were
short cargo shorts.
Yes.
Yes. I didn't know. I thought they always went down to your knees. I didn't know that could happen. Or I was thinking maybe his balls were really long.
Well, they were a little too baggy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
You know, I've noticed that at every show I've ever done, no matter how good my sets have been or how bad, there's always a guy like that in every show.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, he always sits in the most visible place, like straight in your center of sight. Have you ever noticed that? I don't know what's... And I don't know what his purpose is in life. Like he's got that resting bitch face, and he hates the world, and he's angry, and he doesn't laugh. But he finds his way to a comedy club, and in the middle, the anchor, the place where you look, just so he can ruin your day. It seems like,
yeah.
You know. And I've done shows where every single person's laughing, and he's there like he's gonna go down with his ship. I'm gonna steer you down, and I'm gonna have this ugly mug the whole time. And I do genuinely want to know what's going through that guy's mind. If his face just doesn't match his soul, deep down inside he's cracking up, and he just is born without those muscles to smile or laugh.
I don't think he has a soul. Or
if it's actually like a cult that he's a part of, that's like, I'm just going to go ruin the self-esteem of a comic tonight.
I think so.
You think it's the second one?
I think it is, because I don't think they actually have a soul.
Yeah.
Pretty sure, because I've thrown out some real good funny at some of those people before. They just kind of sit there.
Yeah. You know, you can't win them all, but I've also made a habit of studying those people, and they're like that the whole night. It doesn't matter who's up there. You know, they're just determined to look like that. And you know, it's I wonder if they go other places and do that. You know, like I'm gonna go to a concert and cross my arms, pretend like I don't enjoy the music. I'm gonna go yell at the wait staff at some Chili's all night long. You know, like their whole day is just spreading misery, like a little misery virus that goes through society.
Yeah, I'm gonna cuss at the bus driver for driving too fast.
I'm gonna curse at some pedestrians for walking too slow across the street.
Yep. Well, how long have you been doing comedy now?
About a year and a half.
Okay.
I started at the closest club to me does a class, and it's 3 classes and then a show, and in every single class, I bombed so hard. Like you do a class, just for the other students, and I didn't get one single laugh. And every single time I trashed the material, it was just garbage material, like fundamentally wrong material. I wrote all new material for the next class, bombed, and then trashed it, and then did all new material for the next one, and bombed every single time. Just couldn't get a smirk. And then the showcase came around, and I rewrote everything. I kind of did what you did. I showed up with material that I just had untried, untrue, and it's something that I don't think I could do again. I had a fantastic show, and to this day, I still think it's one of my best sets ever, where there's applause breaks. I timed my set, and I only had about 4 minutes of material, but there was enough laughter. I actually went over my time. Nice. Ended up being a 7-minute set with 3 minutes of laughter.
Nice.
And then I was just hooked, and every day of my life is now just chasing that thrill. Trying to have as good a set as your first one, and I think a lot of that is just people are surprised. The bar is low, they know you're new, but it was such a good feeling that now it's just, there's nothing like it. I'm hooked. It's a drug, and try to get that level of laughter again.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what's an even better drug than that, if there is one. One thing I found out whenever I'm on stage and I just get in that zone, where you just kind of in your perfect little spot and you're in your groove.
Yeah.
I've got to where if I'm in that, I don't hear laughter. I feel the energy, but I'm in my little area, I'm not hearing it. But I get the energy from it, and that's a really neat place to go. Yeah.
I feel like I liken it to like when a batter hits the ball and they know it's going out.
Yeah.
Like they don't watch the ball leave; they just know it's gone.
Yeah.
And there are nights when I'll have a great set and I'll walk off and I'll know, and you're kind of lost in the moment. You're in a different place, and then you go back and you watch your set, you record your set, and then it's like, the laughter is confirmed, but then you're seeing it more objectively at that time. Sometimes I can't even watch it; I just kind of enjoy the buzz from it for a little bit until the buzz wears off, and then you go back and you watch it again. But yeah, it's a hard to describe feeling for people. You're almost in like a Zen-like state when it occurs.
Yeah, definitely. Now I'll tell you, the one thing that you've got to try, and it will prove your mettle, that's for sure. See if you can get booked at a strip club.
I've heard this. There's legendary stories like this.
Oh man, I did one in Savannah, and it wasn't just a strip club. It was a strip club on the backside of a strip mall in a bad part of town. If there's ever a movie made of that night, Ben Stiller will be in it. That's the kind of night it was. Oh man, but it was such a fun show. I really had a good time at the show.
Yeah.
But,
I think the funniest show I've ever done. I was booked for a festival for Filipino people, but I'm not Filipino, and it was like 500 people. It was enormous, and it was like a fancy thing. It was like everyone was wearing formal attire, like tuxedos and like cultural attire. Mm-hmm. And they asked me to do jokes there, and I don't know if they thought I was Filipino and just assumed, or if they knew and thought I would pass. But when I did it, they knew. They sensed it. They knew I was an alien, and it was. I felt like I ruined an event. I went up there. I talked for 10 minutes. And there was silence, and the whole time I could hear them thinking, "Why is this guy here?" And I'm afraid to ask did you guys think I was Filipino? Is that why, or was it just like a mistake where you couldn't tell us apart? Um, I think they didn't do their homework and
Yeah,
sort of try to shove a round peg in a square hole.
yeah, they kind of went by pictures.
They looked at the pictures and they're like, close enough. We can't even tell us apart.
Oh man, oh man. Yeah, that's the great thing about comedy. One night may be the best show of your life. The next night ain't necessarily the worst. It's just different. But it's
Yeah.
always cool because you can always make at least one person laugh.
Well, I think those two a day, like those weekends where you're doing multiple shows, like I think it's funny that I'll do the exact same material in the exact same way. And the first show will either hate me, and the second show will love me, or the first show will love me, and the second show will hate me. And it's just funny. Like it's just whatever group of people comes in,
Yeah.
and the calculations are all wrong. I can't figure out the equation why the same jokes just fall flat in front of the same people in the same club just an hour apart.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like golf where you hit a bad shot, but they're so hooked at playing that they just keep doing it. Like you hit a good shot, you hit a bad shot, you hit a good shot, and you're just constantly chasing that perfect shot. Our sets are like that. We have a great set, and then we'll have a couple off ones. Then you're just chasing that moment back. You have a great set, you stay hooked. You have a series of bad ones, and you would have quit. It's just done over and over and over again.
Yep, it's like verbal crack.
Exactly. It's a constant search for like affirmation from strangers. It's the most bizarre thing in the world. It's trying to get the approval of strangers.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was that explained it really well for me. They said, we're trying to go into a room full of strangers and elicit the same involuntary response at the same time from everyone.
Yeah.
And that's
in such a short amount of time too,
Yeah. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
But oh man. Well, Doc, I've had a ball with this thing, man. And I know you're welcome back on here anytime. You've got this number, don't lose it. You just holler, say, hey Fatty, I want to get back on the show, and guess what? You're back on the show.
I'm happy to be. I enjoy doing them. It's always fun talking to other comics. It's fun talking to people in other parts of the world. I love hearing the comedy stories.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite thing in the world is sitting at the bar after a show and just hearing, like those terrible stories of you doing a show in the strip club, getting chased out of a part of town, getting heckled. Like that's actually my favorite part of comedy is those war stories afterwards.
Oh, there's nothing like it. And I'll tell you what's a lot of fun is if you get on a bill with 3 or 4 other people after the show, if the club will let you, all of you just get on stage and just sit there and talk and do that on stage, and it goes over so great. And so much good stuff comes out of it.
Never gotten to do that. I need to throw that out there the next time.
Yeah.
If I ever get to perform again.
If you go back into podcasts, find one that is it's got Larry Smith, Lauren Ansley, and Nate Copley in it. That's what I recorded.
Oh yeah.
The 4 of us on stage after a show, and it was so much fun.
Huh. Definitely have to find that one. That sounds really great.
Yeah, it's one of my early ones, so it's kind of rough, but I've been learning.
Yeah.
I'm getting better. I'm not trying to use my radio voice anymore when I interview anyone. I haven't come on and go, so what's your specialty, sir? Yeah, we just talk now, and I like that a lot better.
You should throw it in every now and then. It's pretty impressive.
Oh, I got skills. Oh, yes. I used to actually be on the radio.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Let me see if I can muster up a little thing here. You're listening to Big Country 107.7. We've got your all-time favorites and today's hot new hits. Big Country 107. Oh, yes.
I don't know why you don't use it, man. I would.
Oh, man.
If I could.
It tears my
This is my only voice.
Oh, I've got millions of them. I can do Hank Hill pretty dang good.
That's a good Hank Hill.
Mm.
And you're talking to a Laotian. That could be a thing.
No, I didn't even think about that. That's awesome.
I could be Khan.
That is awesome. When the hell did you start doing stand-up? Oh,
I'm Mr. Khan.
That's beautiful.
I don't know what else he says. He doesn't get a lot of lines. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, he doesn't.
He just kind of says that. I feel like they could have developed him more.
Yeah.
I think there was racism.
It had to have been. Had to have been. But oh man. But yeah, anytime you want back on here, come on back on. I appreciate you coming on.
Oh, I appreciate you having me.